What you are about to see is something that has never happened before. This was unprecedented. Focus on the pictures, viewers. This was an ambush against Prime Minister Modi. What is captured on camera is nothing short of a reckless ambush orchestrated by Congress MPs. And it was aimed to humiliate and frame Prime Minister Modi. What do you see, viewers? Look closely. A group of opposition members, mostly women MPs, huddled in wait, their eyes fixed on the entrance, that's on the right side, ready to pounce the moment the Prime Minister stepped in. And just think of what could have unfolded. Viewers, this was no peaceful protest. This was an aggressive move to physically block, confront, and perhaps even intimidate the Prime Minister. They were not just raising voices, slogans. They were invading space, creating chaos that could have spiraled into something far more dangerous, viewers. Just ask yourself one logical question. What if the Prime Minister had entered the House at that precise moment? What if he had walked into that mob-like formation around his seat, the first seat of the House, because he is the leader of the House? The area was surrounded by shouting MPs closing in. One shudders at the thought of potential security nightmare and so much more. Imagine the jostling, the pushing, the shoving in that heated melee. Women MPs, trying to physically stop the Prime Minister. Arms outstretched, bodies blocking his path. And in that manufactured chaos, even an unintentional brush of a hand, viewers, mark my words, even an unintentional brush of a hand, a slight touch here and there during the commotion could have led to unimaginable consequences and fury. These same MPs would have been first to cry foul, sweeping assault, manhandling, outrage of modesty, everything else you can imagine. And then let's think of the narrative. You know that the Prime Minister did not behave himself when he was stopped or blocked by the women MPs. BJP MPs attacked women opposition members. That would have been the narrative. They would file complaints, demand inquiries, all while conveniently forgetting that they initiated this physical confrontation. Viewers, the Congress exploited gender dynamics here, got women MPs as shields to escalate, would have then played the victim card if things went as per their plan. What was their plan? That do this, let the Prime Minister walk in, and then let's teach him a lesson. So let's call it what it is, despicable behavior that undermines the very fabric of our parliamentary system. And think about it logically, viewers. Why resort to such behavior in a house meant for dialogue? Why? Is this the opposition's idea of, when they say fighting for democracy? Is this how they will fight for democracy? By turning the Lok Sabha into a battleground? This recklessness by Congress MPs is not just irresponsible. Viewers, this is a betrayal of the people who have elected them, sent him here. MPs were elected to debate, not to ambush or physically stop the Prime Minister. And if this goes unpunished, viewers, imagine the precedent this sets. A parliament where even physical intimidation is allowed, or physical intimidation replaces intellectual discourse. So it's time for all parties, and I say all parties, with some amount of responsibilities, that all parties must introspect and reflect. Sample the reactions.
राहुल गांधी जी और उनके कांग्रेस के टीम ने जानबूझ करके महिला सांसदों को आगे भेजा और बैनर लेके प्रधानमंत्री का कुर्सी तक जाने का प्लान बनाया। आप कल्पना कीजिए, अगर हमारा बीजेपी के जो महिला सांसदों को आगे बढ़ने देते तो क्या होता। हमारे तो संख्या भी बहुत ज्यादा है।
नहीं, मैं तो यही सवाल पूछ रही हूँ ना कि उस दिन वो मौजूद नहीं थे क्या हाउस में? किरण रिजिजू जी मौजूद थे ना, उन्होंने देखा नहीं क्या? आप लोगों ने वीडियो डाले हमारे, तो क्या उन्होंने वीडियो नहीं देखे थे उस वक्त? तो क्या नए वीडियो डाले, मुझे नहीं समझ में आ रहा है। और किस तरह से हमें बेबुनियाद हमारे ऊपर आरोप लगाए जा रहे हैं।
प्रधानमंत्री जी की अहित करने की चेष्टा करना कि अगर वो हाउस में आते हैं तो हम कुछ ना कुछ ऐसा करेंगे जिससे उनका अहित होगा, ये कैसी सोच है? एंड द टाइम हैज कम व्हेन इंडिया शुड इम्पीच राहुल गांधी एंड द कांग्रेस पार्टी फ्रॉम पॉलिटिक्स।
वीडियो रिलीज करी है, रिजिजू ने बोला है कि इस तरह से जो महिला सांसद थे ऑपोजिशन के वो चढ़ रहे थे पीएम मोदी की जगह।
उन्होंने खुद ही वीडियो रिलीज किया है, आप खुद उसमें देखे बताओ, सरासर झूठ। वीडियो में आप खुद देखे नारे लगा रही है महिला एमपी, क्या महिला एमपी नारे भी ना लगाए?
वो कह रहे हैं कि मोदी जहाँ बैठते हैं वहाँ चढ़ रहे थे, इस तरह वो दिक्कत हो रही है।
बिल्कुल कतई गलत, आपने खुद देखा, ऐसा था ही नहीं।
Let's open this up. Charu Pragya, spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Anish Gawande, the national spokesperson of the NCP Sharad Pawar faction. Dr. Piyush Joshi, spokesperson of the I.N.D.I.A Party. Nikhil Jain, Umar Junaidi, Professor Monojit Mondal will be with us shortly, and Dr. Anand Ranganathan completes this panel. Anish, is this parliamentary behavior? Physically blocking the Prime Minister from taking his seat, surrounding his seat. Why resort to this?
Pranesh, what you've unfortunately witnessed, not just in the video that you've shown, but in multiple days of Parliament this session, but also over the course of the last few months, is a complete breakdown of trust between the government and the opposition in Parliament. Now, this is incredibly unfortunate. On the opposition's end, we have raised significant concerns about there being no functioning of Parliament, there being no space for debate, there being no way in which the questions that the opposition wants to raise being discussed in Parliament. At the same time, you witness behavior that in other circumstances would have been unheard of in Parliament. I'm not denying this. I agree with you. These are scenes that one has not seen in Parliament before, and these are scenes that should worry all of us across political lines and all of us as citizens of this country. I think the level of the discourse needs to be brought down a bit, though, in terms of the hyperbole is used. All of those MPs there are responsible citizens of this country elected to public office. Those women MPs are not going to bite the Prime Minister, as an NDA spokesperson said not too long ago. They're certainly not going to physically assault the Prime Minister, and they most certainly have the utmost respect for the Prime Minister's sort of position.
No, Anish, I disagree with the last bit. If this is the level of respect, then one wonders, what would someone do if they really respected someone? I mean, is this how you show respect to anyone? You can have disagreements, and I agree with first part of what you said, that there is breakdown of trust. But even in that, this is no way to behave. And why use women MPs as, why? I could see Imran Masood, the Congress MP, signaling, gesturing, pushing them, as if to say, I could not pick the audio on it, but to me it appears he's telling them, aage jaiye, aage jaiye. Why do this? One remembers what Rahul Gandhi had done. He rushed, crossed the well of the house, went, forcibly hugged the Prime Minister. But this is next level.
No, Pranesh, again, to reiterate, I don't think that any of those exceptional women MPs in Parliament on either side of the political aisle are so pliable so as to listen to any MP, whether within their own party or in the sort of other party, and go and meet the Prime Minister or act on anyone's behest. This was a moment of frustration that had come into Parliament. This was a moment where voices were not being heard, We can certainly debate whether or not there's a breakdown of trust in Parliament, whether this was the appropriate thing to do. But to also claim that these MPs would somehow bite the Prime Minister or physically hurt the Prime Minister, I think
Okay, so this is a moment of frustration. Nikhil Jain, that is the justification. Moment of frustration, so we will physically block the Prime Minister. Not let him sit. Block his way.
First of all,
Gather near his seat.
Pranesh, first of all, in the words of the great Gyanesh जी, क्या हमारी माताओं बहनों का ऐसा वीडियो साझा करना चाहिए क्या? और अगर साझा करा है, तो 2013 का भी वीडियो साझा करते. When opposition women MPs from the BJP stood in front of the Prime Minister in the very same fashion, but Prime Minister Manmohan Singh kept the dignity of the House and his office and continued with his speech, understanding that it is the right of the opposition MPs to protest against him, to stand in front of him, and that is what a democracy is all about. I really don't understand why Narendra Modi, who's the Prime Minister
No, 1 minute.
of a
There is
country
a difference, Nikhil. When someone is sitting, you can go stand in front of someone and protest. You know, show placards, banners, etc. Even those are not allowed. But, you know, in any case, but how can you block someone's way? If you were the Prime Minister and if this, you know, if you saw the group of women MPs there and if you want to make your way to the seat, how would you do it?
Did the Prime Minister even come to the Parliament's complex?
No, which
These
is why I am
women MPs
asking
couldn't
you.
block them.
You wanted the Prime Minister embarrassed. You wanted to embarrass the Prime Minister. Was that the plan?
The Prime Minister is an utterly embarrassed, utterly scared individual who's scared of President Trump, who's scared of the opposition, who's scared of the media, who's scared of pretty much anything under the world. Despite the fact that he's the Prime Minister of a country of 1.5 billion people, he has the kind of security that very few individuals in the entire world have. He has the kind of protocol that very few individuals in the entire world have, yet he feels the need to run away. The plan is that the fact is that this was an afterthought when the Prime Minister ran away from the
Parliament. The Prime Minister wanted to run away, you should not have done this. You should have allowed him to speak, and you know, going by what you said, he would have exposed himself. Why did you do this? And Anish says this is a moment of frustration. Professor Mondal, tomorrow, in a moment of frustration, anything you do is justified. Throw things at someone.
I don't understand why one of the most powerful men in Asia, not just in India, Mr. Narendra Damodar Modi, is scared of the women MPs. I don't understand. See, everything is under the public glare. Does he really believe that the women MPs are going to go against him inside the Parliament under the media glare? I mean, what are you talking about? It is BJP's failure to run the Parliament. Not just the Prime Minister, who is the leader of the Parliament, leader of the House. And look at what he has done in the last 10 years. Do you find even once going for the press conference? Nothing. Never. And look at how the Parliament debates are going on.
Professor Mondal, so your logic, okay, you are going one up on what Anish said. He says moment of frustration. You are saying because the Prime Minister has not done any press conferences, we will do this. Physically confront him. Do you realize what you are saying? And have you forgotten how one TMC member of Parliament had behaved during the JPC? Glass fake diya tha, sir. That was also a moment of frustration. What was the name of the MP?
He was not.
No, who was that person who did this?
He was not being hurt. He hurt himself. I know who is the person. I know. He hurt himself.
So why was
he hurt himself? He was not hurt. And on top of this, one of the women parliamentarians were suspended by you. I mean, chucked out of the house. And look at the irony. She came back again with the blessings of the people. I'm talking about Mohammed Moitro. And how many parliamentarians you have suspended, Mr. Pranesh, in the last 5 years?
Sir.
How many parliamentarians you have suspended?
Professor Mondal, hand on your heart, tell me what you see. Is this parliamentary?
Go. I'm not saying that to run the house is the responsibility of the government.
Okay. And if they don't allow the house to run, we will do this, right? So next time someone, next time someone really wants to protest, send a message sit on the treasury benches. That will be the ultimate form of protest. We will not let the ministers sit. Right? Umar Junaidi, moment of frustration tha ye.
I don't remember the exact date, but I remember the statement given by Nitin Gadkari ji, who was the minister in today's government, wherein he said that we don't have the experience of running the government, but we have the experience of being into the opposition. And if Congress and other allies want to know how the opposition works, learn from us. And maybe these MPs are learning from the BJP during their time of their opposition, wherein they walked in front of Manmohan Singh, they told the bills, they stopped him from making the speeches in the parliament, and that's what is being followed. I feel so. Not
Umar
only about the way
Umar Junaidi, 1 minute. Every time someone says store the bills, think of what Rahul Gandhi had said about tearing an ordinance. That was the ultimate act of undermining Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Don't you forget that. Charu Prajya, respond to what you've heard. This is the BJP playbook. हमने तो वही किया जो BJP करते आ रही है.
Pranesh, this is a horrible precedent to set. So one, not just a red line was crossed in constitutional democracy. What the opposition set out to do was deplorable. I'll tell you how. One, they deliberately used women MPs to block our Honorable Prime Minister. All the discussions, all the opposition spokespersons are making right now, it's completely based on if, what, but. Had anything untoward happened, they would have created a ruckus. I think it was very wise for our Prime Minister to not be present when all this was going on. They called off his speech at the last second because of exactly this. Have you seen those visuals? Imran Masood is the same person who said Modi ji ki boti boti hogi. Boti boti, you know what that means? He'll be chopped up into pieces. So a man as violent as that was directing women to all stand in a line and block his way. All these women, I saw the gesturing of Jyoti Mani, several other people. See, another thing is the problem here. Up till now, they resorted to verbal violence. They spewed venom. They used verbal threats against our Honorable Prime Minister. Now they are normalizing physical aggression inside Parliament. They're normalizing it. And should we sit here and take it? Should we allow it? Absolutely not. This precedent that the opposition is trying to set and then normalize all these people, it must come to a complete full stop. And look at the way Rahul Gandhi has behaved in Parliament. One, he's been completely entitled, so he didn't want to speak. He ensured nobody else managed to speak. People from Monajit's party must have wanted to speak, or Anish's party may have wanted to speak. Nobody managed to do any constructive work. Why? Because of Rahul Gandhi. Sense of entitlement so deep that he wants to move a motion of no confidence, but doesn't think it's important.
Charu, you're calling this sense of entitlement. The opposition would say that this is because of breakdown of trust, that the government does not allow opposition leaders to speak in house, which is why you have to, we have to resort to this behavior.
So, Pranesh, let me answer that in all seriousness, because for me, a topic like this is very important. They were allowed to speak. Instead of talking about all the issues that they want to raise on television debates, Rahul Gandhi wanted to quote from a book which does not exist. Of course, he was called out for it. In fact, there has been a FIR which has been registered.
We'll come to that. Let's first discuss this video. Two doctors on the panel haven't spoken, Dr. Ranganathan, Dr. Joshi. Now, who speaks first? Dr. Joshi, पहले आप बोलेंगे, पहले Dr. Ranganathan बोलेंगे. आप लोग आपस में बता दीजिए.
डॉक्टर साहब बोलिए आप पहले.
बोलिए Dr. Joshi. Is this parliamentary behavior? मोमेंट ऑफ फ्रस्ट्रेशन था तो हमने फिजिकली ब्लॉक कर दिया. प्राइम मिनिस्टर के सीट के सामने एक वो जो घेराव जिसको बोलते हैं वो कर दिया.
Pranesh, there are 2-3 things that I would like to clarify. Just give me a minute and I'll be done within that time frame. It's very simple what this country should be debating about. The country should be debating about the US-India trade deal. The country should be debating about what the Prime Minister's name is doing in the Epstein's files and whether that visit to Israel had anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein and his stooges. whether that Prime Minister's visit or whether this Prime Minister is under any kind of pressure, and how dare Trump can say that he has the power to destroy the Prime Ministers of India's career. This is what we should be discussing. Now, to get an answer, we need the Prime Minister to respond. How does the Prime Minister respond in Rajya Sabha? By engaging in rhetoric, by running away from Lok Sabha. Another way is that the Prime Minister can conduct an open press conference and respond openly. Does he do that? It's been 12 years that all the journalists have been asking for an open press conference. He does not do that. So if this behavior is unparliamentary, then by all means, the Lok Sabha.
No. What do you think? I asked you a question. What I think this is
Hold on.
unparliamentary. What do you think of this video?
Hold on. If there was a physical threat, if this behavior is unparliamentary, the speaker is well within his rights to take action.
The speaker did. The speaker did. The speaker said that there was threat to PM's to Prime Minister Modi, which is why the Prime Minister skipped the speech in Lok Sabha. Now you're going after the speaker. No trust motion against the speaker. Even in that, you could not even get the date right, the year right. 2025 लिख दिया. कुछ भी तैयारी नहीं है आपकी. अब कल को ये होगा कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर को आपने सबक सिखा दिया. स्पीकर के चेयर के पास भी जाके कोई बैठ ही जाए वहां पे. वी विल रन द हाउस. डॉक्टर रंगनाथन, मोमेंट ऑफ फ्रस्ट्रेशन है. Why not?
Good evening, Pranesh, and good evening to my fellow panelists. May I gently correct you? There are 3 officially legal doctors on the panel, because Professor Monojit Mondal also is a doctor. But the real doctor is only Dr. Piyush Joshi, because he's a medical doctor. Both me and Professor Monojit Mondal are what I would call Ghoda doctors. We are just PhDs, not in medicine. So just to clarify that, the real doctor is Dr. Piyush Joshi, whom I respect, and he's a real hero. Let me come to this topic straight away. And I promise you, I'll give 2 solutions, because otherwise you've seen what has happened in the last 20 minutes. Not a single statement of any of my dear fellow panelists is wrong or factually incorrect. It's just that it is like a ping pong ball. My good friend from the BJP is rightfully accusing the opposition, and my good friends from the opposition are rightly accusing the BJP, because the BJP was doing exactly the same thing when it was in opposition. And the BJP continues to do the same thing when it is in opposition in the state assemblies where it is in opposition. So the fact remains that if you leave it to the politicians, they would much rather have street enter the parliament, which is what it is. These are disgraceful scenes. These are embarrassing. These signify lack of maturity and, quite frankly, lack of, I don't know what to say, maybe education. How can grown-up adults who have a responsibility of representing millions of Indians go on and sequester, harangue, gherao somebody who has the position of a prime minister? Or, they were waiting to do that. Ambush him. These scenes are unacceptable. So now let me come to the solution. The first solution is that anybody who is found to be disrupting the House, rather than asking him to pay a fine, which would be 1,000 rupees, which is like what he earns in 1 second, his term should be curtailed by 4 months. His term of either Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. 3 such intransigences, and he gets to loot his constituency by less than 1 year. So that is what happens. They will come in line within 24 hours. And the second solution is, and I would like my dear friend Charu to come here, I think the Speaker of the House should be elected by the opposition. I think that would assuage the opposition in a great deal, and that should not matter to the ruling dispensation at all, because the Speaker is supposed to be impartial. And if the Speaker is supposed to be impartial, I'd much rather have him from the opposition, because that would calm the opposition down as well. So these are 2 solutions I thought I will bring to the table, rather than partaking in a debate which will go to and fro like a ping pong ball.
Charu?
The thing is, the opposition actually quite likes the speaker. That is why they decided not to go ahead with this no confidence motion, the sham of it. Because, Pranesh, it is the strongest possible measure woven into our constitution. It should be sparingly used, wisely used. And what is the opposition doing with it? A no confidence motion is no laughing matter. There has to be a clear majority discontent amongst the members of parliament to use something as powerful, as strong as this. You're making a joke of every single constitutional method, institution, whatever it might be. You scream about wanting to save democracy. Is this how you do it? Is this how you do it? By storming into parliament, trying to block the prime minister, physical intimidation at best. We have people saying all kinds of things around him. You can't even get your act together to make a simple piece of paper which you have to submit as your no confidence motion. The LOP doesn't want to sign off on it, so they lack unity. They lack actually coming together and deciding anything in a way which makes sense. They can't even get the date correct, and then their own LOP decides to skip it. Who's going to take them seriously? Look at the optics of it, and the optics of it frankly are terrible because we are losing money every second.
Okay, Nikhil, why has Rahul Gandhi not signed the motion, the notice?
Pranesh, first of all, I really believe that Charu has all the qualities of being a cabinet minister in the Modi government, because Dr. Ranganathan put forth two important points, and she's very skillfully dodged both of them and put the ball in the opposition's court again. You are the government. It's your responsibility to run the house. Let's answer on that. And let's also put this entire controversy in context for your viewers, Pranesh. These lady MPs were protesting because a male member of the government character assassinated a former lady prime minister, insinuating that she had illicit relations with men after she was widowed. They were protesting because of that.
All of that is part of a book. 1 minute. That is part of a book which is published, Nikhil. And in any case, if you have to raise a point of order, there is a way. The procedure is laid down quite clearly. What is this behavior of blocking the way? Just look at the pictures, viewers. I don't even have to say anything. The staircase, that the Prime Minister would have taken to reach his seat, which is the first seat on the right-hand side of the Speaker, the leader of the House. The Prime Minister is the leader of the House. That is blocked. Dr. Ranganathan?
Now, I'll tell you exactly where all this is going and progressing. I am predicting something within a matter of maybe a year, maybe 2 years. You will have member of parliaments carrying a duffly. Because I've seen this happen. I've seen the JNU debates, at least on, on bits and video clips that used to happen in the 70s and 80s. Even Sitaram Yechuri and others. It would be a decorum that would be maintained, and people would be asked to put their points of view. And see the JNU debates right now. Everyone is carrying a duffly. You are gherawing, you are haranguing. And that is exactly where our parliament is going.
So Dr. Ranganathan, JNU में तो slogans भी होते हैं. Why are you not talking about the slogans? मोदी तेरी कब्र खुदेगी.
ये आएंगे, यही MPs जो हैं ये स्लोगन भी करेंगे और डफली बजाएंगे. Hey, Mr. Tambourine Man, it's going to come here. I'm predicting this.
But Nikhil is not answering the question about Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi ने sign क्यों नहीं किया, Nikhil?
Pranesh, when the Prime Minister can run away from answering questions on national security, I can run away from answering any question. I'm not even elected, let alone be the Prime Minister of the country. Why should I answer when the Prime Minister doesn't care to answer about anything? And I'm talking about the character assassination of a lady on the floor of the House. Just because a book is published doesn't mean you can go around reading anything. There is erotica that is published.
If the book is published, why can't you go around reading it? Why? If the book is published, why can't you go around reading it?
Pranesh, there are all sorts of filthy things that are published in this country, like some books on some Savita Bhavi or something.
Go to the court, get an injunction, Dr. Ranganathan.
No, if Pamela Mountbatten writes about Edwina Mountbatten and Jawaharlal Nehru and their relationship, is she indulging in character assassination of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru? Yes or no?
Let's talk about what Nishikant Dubey insinuated for Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, that she has illicit relations.
Just secretary of Jawaharlal Nehru. He was quoting.
Doesn't matter who wrote it. Dr. Ranganathan, doesn't matter who wrote it. A lot of things have been written about Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Should we all be talking about all of that publicly?
But people do.
Fair?
Yes, why not?
People do.
Absolutely.
People do all the time, Nikhil. People do all the time.
In the parliament. Do they do that in the parliament?
Listen, 1 minute. What is this? Do they do this in the parliament? Rahul Gandhi can read from an unpublished book in parliament, but what is written can't be read. Nikhil, सोच तो लिया कीजिए, please. I don't like doing this to you. It almost feels, targeting. But you force me to do this. Why? Anish, now we've gone past that moment of frustration.
Pranesh.
This is the moment of introspection. If the opposition is really serious in believing that the speaker is unfair, let's impeach him, and this no trust motion against him, why has Rahul Gandhi, the leader of opposition, not signed?
Pranesh, we were not involved in conversations around that no trust motion, and we have not signed that no trust motion because I think, unfortunately, the minute you cross that Lakshman Rekha of considering the speaker as somebody who is biased and needs to be removed, there's no going back. I think it's a decision that needs to be taken very seriously. Here I agree with Charu. I think that level of breakdown of trust is something we should all sort of be wary of, and we should all prevent if we can. That being said, I want to ask, what is the intent behind any of these things? You asked a very good question about what was the intent behind ghirawing the Prime Minister's chair. Was it embarrassment to the Prime Minister's office? Was it embarrassment to the Prime Minister? What was the intent behind bringing up I.N.D.I.A Gandhi ji's illicit affairs? I'm saying you are allowed to bring it up. But what is the government's intent? The government, unfortunately, is not showing an honest intent. When you want to discuss air pollution, you're stonewalled. When you want to discuss the US trade deal, you're stonewalled.
No, I'll tell you. I'll get Charu Pragya to answer that question. But if you make this about intent, the other side will say that, look, this is part of history. We are reading from the book. Charu Pragya, what was the intent? Why do you keep going back to Indira and Nehru?
Pranesh, if history didn't matter, let's stop teaching it at school and universities, right? But here, look again at the sense of entitlement that Nikhil is reminding us of. So Rahul Gandhi, being the Shehzada that he is, can quote from a book which doesn't even exist. But other people bringing actual published works of literature into parliament becomes a problem because it does not suit Rahul Gandhi's narrative. That is the extent to which Rahul Gandhi has become entitled. He'll sit on the steps of parliament and degrade, insult, abuse his own MP, and it is fine because for them it is a laughing matter. Well, for me it is not a laughing matter. The way parliament has been conducted, especially after last session, because in winter session these very same people went around crying and saying, it's such a short session, only 19 days.
Since we are talking about the book, let's shift our attention and let's go to that story